Hello, my name's Tricia Hart. I'm the Directorate Manager at Quadram Biosciences, which is a research institute in Norwich that looks at food and gut health and improving lifelong health for all. The role of the Directorate Manager is to make sure that the science strategy of the Institute is met and to record all the things that we do as scientists at the Institute. I do a lot of reporting, I do a lot of presenting to people outside the Institute, and I make sure that the scientists have everything that they need by working with colleagues across lots of different departments. When I started my career, all I wanted to be was a pathologist. I loved the idea of finding out what was wrong with somebody by looking at different tissues in their body or by looking at their cells. My grandfather was a pathologist and I found him a very inspiring person. Unfortunately, I didn't get into medical school because my A-level grades weren't good enough, so I decided just to go to university and study a straight biology degree. I chose to do a degree that had a placement year in it so that I could go and actually have some in-lab experience before I graduated. I have to say, I think that was the most valuable part of my degree because a lot of people do degrees, but not a lot of people get really valuable work experience as part of it. My work experience here was spent in a research laboratory in America, which was a huge experience for lots of different reasons. But the cancer research I did there really inspired me to go on and actually pursue a career in research once I finished my degree. I did a PhD at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh. It was actually looking at yeast. I was going to make the perfect beer. But in the end, I decided that I wanted to go back to the medical side of research. And once I'd finished my PhD, I did 2 projects looking at brain disease. Huntington's disease was the main, and I also looked at prion disease, diseases such as mad cow disease and Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease in humans. What I discovered when I was doing my research was no matter how much I loved biology, actually I wasn't a great scientist. My real skills were in organising things, talking about things, and just making the science happen rather than actually doing the science myself. I think what this really shows is that when you are thinking about what to do when you're at school, what might actually happen isn't what you expect. You have lots of skills that you learn when you go to study a certain subject. You have lots of skills that you learn when you're doing different jobs. What you might find are the skills that you settle on in a career are those that you were least expecting. When I got the opportunity as part of my research career to become a science administrator and then a science manager, which is basically what I do now, I really jumped at the chance. I'd always been the one that put my hand up when there was a conference to organise or when there was data to collect. That was what I wanted to do, and I haven't regretted it for a single moment. I love my job. There are so many different aspects to my job. I still consider myself a scientist. I work with scientists every day of the week. But the difference is, because I'm not doing the science, I get to learn about so many different kinds of science. I work with the food technologists at Quadram. I work with the health development scientists at Quadram. And I work with all the computer technologists as well. It's such a valuable way of finding out so many different skills and making the most of them. If I was to meet my 16-year-old self once again, I would probably say, don't worry if you don't get into medical school, there's a better job out there for you. Somebody once said to me that it used to be that you had 3 jobs in your life. Now they talk about you have 3 careers in your life. I reckon I'm on to my 2nd career now. I'm looking forward to finding out what my 3rd career is going to be. Who knows? But don't worry about it if you don't find your first career that you think you're going to fall into. There's an awful lot out there. You just have to try everything you possibly can, take every opportunity you get. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Anne Jordan and I'm a PhD student in the Gut Microbes and Health Department at the Quadram Biosciences. And I investigate how we can use commensal gut bacteria and their products to boost the immune reaction after vaccination. Some of you might now think, this is an odd link to study on. Why should the bugs in my gut change the way how my body reacts to a vaccine or not? But that is exactly the fascinating bit about science, that you can examine and find new unknown things, interactions that nobody thought could actually exist and matter, and that thus in the end you create new knowledge. Let's take the gut microbiome, for instance. So the entirety of all the microorganisms that live in your gut. When I still went to school, nobody actually paid attention to it. Who would take probiotics to restore their microbiome after an antibiotic treatment? Or at least where I grew up at that particular time point, nobody. And today we start to understand how important these bugs in our intestine really are. They can make the difference between a good or weak immune response, how prone one might be to suffer from depression or dementia, or to develop myocardial problems, and they even help combating cancer. And actually, this example also shows the next great thing about science that I personally love a lot and that made me choose this career when I was younger. There is no limitation. Are you interested in one particular detail or want to see the bigger picture? Your choice. You want to see if there's a connection nobody thought of or only looked at very little? You can. You want to help people and animals? You can. You cannot decide between chemistry, biology, medicine, but you also love arts and languages. You literally can have it all. When I was 14, I changed schools. On the one hand, because I wanted to escape bullying from my former school, but also because I always wanted to know more. And my new school wanted me to make one of the first difficult choices in my life. Do I want to specialize in literature, poetry, foreign languages, or do I want to go into science, psychology, technology? And it might surprise you, knowing that I'm a scientist now, that I actually chose the languages at that time point. That choice made me realize two important things later. One, that even though I love languages, literature, and everything connected to it, my real passion and even vocation lies in science. And that two, even if you did not get what you wanted in the first place and did not take the direct and easy path, you will end up with something even better as long as you do what you love. I got massively inspired by my chemistry teachers, all women, by the way, which also encouraged me to take a first look at possible university subjects after I would finish school. That's where I got introduced to the wonders of molecular biotechnology and biomedicine. That maybe someday we could use the mechanisms that make an axolotl's leg grow back after it loses it, use that for people who suffer from Alzheimer's disease to gain back their neural functions. And that fascinating thought stuck with me quite a while. And when I did a year of volunteering in a nursing home for dependent elderly persons, everything kind of fell into place. I saw the impact of all these diseases that we encounter in old age, what it did to the people, and that I could maybe actually help those people using science to unravel the mysteries around the unknown mechanisms, whether it's from the axolotls or the microbiome side. So I started my bachelor's in molecular biotechnology and took the opportunity to enjoy another great side of science, its internationality. I already mentioned that I love languages, and the fact that in science, well, at least in non-pandemic times at least, you can travel a lot, you collaborate with people in different countries, even can go there, work with them, experience not only their part of science, but also their culture. And that is purely beautiful and wonderful to me. It is also one of the reasons why I was able to become fluent in 3 languages and make friends all over Europe and beyond. Write in my free time poems that sometimes explain scientific coherences in different languages. So I did my bachelor's thesis at the Institut Pasteur in Paris, where I investigated on Staphylococcus aureus. And this pushed me further in the direction where I find myself today, as it not only showed me how much I enjoyed and still enjoy working in the lab and doing this fascinating experiments, but also how much our health and life can be impacted by bacteria and other microorganisms. And unfortunately, one of the worst impacts on that matter is what we are facing at the moment. I then did my master's in molecular medicine at the Charité in Berlin, where I heard for the first time about all the wonders and nightmares that can emerge from our gut microbiome, and searched then for PhD positions that should shine a light on the influence of the gut microbiota on other vital systems and mechanisms of our body. And this is how I ended up here. And even if there were also, of course, hard times, downfalls, disappointments during this journey, I wouldn't like to miss a thing about it. So if there's any advice that I can give you, then don't let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do, but just do what you love. And if you don't know yet what that thing actually is, remember that the field of science is vast, creative, and pretty amazing.
Hi, my name is Helene Savignac, and I'm the head of business development at the Quadram Institute Bioscience in Norwich. The role of my department is to support research innovation and impact and help develop collaborative and commercial opportunities. I work closely with senior management in Quadram, the communication teams, and the researchers in the institute. I am a neuroscientist originally and a trained researcher with a very mixed background. This enables me to work across Quadram research program on multiple projects on human health. I work with many different groups of people, internally and externally, such as researchers, industry, governmental agencies, investors, and various international networks. I am often involved in inspiring discussions around future global health strategies for the world. Growing up, I was always curious about any type of science and the environment around me. How does the universe work? How do volcanoes form? What is the human body made of? Do animals think? What is consciousness? Etc. So naturally, I followed general biology courses in university, and I gradually became more specifically interested in human health. In particular, I developed a fascination for neuroscience in general, from cognitive functions to how the brain commands processes in distant sites around the body. Over time, I specialized in brain diseases and I aim to develop a career in the pharmaceutical industry to help find new treatment. I also really wanted to break the stigma around brain diseases and show that they are just diseases, just like diabetes or cancer. I heard very early in my career about this new promising field called the microbiome. I understood that this field could help bring new answers to a stalling area of research, so I followed opportunities throughout my PhD, my postdoc, and position in industry to help develop and promote this field. So organizations I worked for produced groundbreaking research. New mechanisms involved in brain diseases were identified at the systemic level, and we showed that new products and therapies related to the microbiome could bring solutions to millions of sufferers and patients around the world. Over time, I gradually became more interested in human health in general and wanted to break down barriers and make disciplines work together in order to address bigger and global challenges. I became increasingly involved in developing collaborations and helping set long-term strategies. I also became interested in roles besides research. An opportunity came to work at the Quadram Institute as a business developer to help support the entire spectrum of research conducted there. This is how I moved to my current position, and it has been great being involved in this adventure. As a scientist and business developer, I love to be involved in so many fascinating projects, and I feel like I'm contributing to improving people's lives, health, and well-being. We are facing many societal and economical challenges, and being able to work on solutions to these feels very rewarding. The great breadth of day-to-day tasks and conversations always make my day very interesting and worth getting up for. I love to work in a team and brainstorm with colleagues. I also enjoy working in a multicultural environment, speaking to people all over the world. I firmly believe that the microbiome field and the research conducted at Quadram is bringing life-changing impact on society. So if I was to give some advice to young scientists, from my humble experience, it is to always be open to people, to opportunities, and to make connections. Be strong-minded, take in positive experiences and leave the rest behind. Don't believe that your past defines you, nor that you can't change path. My academic and professional background are not necessarily typical. I have had lots of challenges. Looking back, whilst I may have started a career in research a little later than others, this has allowed me to develop a very rich background and a bigger picture approach. This has strongly helped me progress in my career and enables me to tackle issues from different perspectives. So the take-home message from this is also that every piece of experience is good. It is a learning curve, and there is no straight or right path. What matters is to build experiences, skills, a network, and try your hardest to follow what you believe in.
Hi, my name's Claire Daniels and I work at QIB Extra as Contracts Manager. QIB Extra is the commercial subsidiary of Quadram Institute of Bioscience. As Contracts Manager, I look after and manage all the ongoing projects for QIB Extra. I also liaise directly with the customer to make sure that we are providing what they need exactly for their project. I also put together reports for stakeholders and maintain the customer relationships. There's also an element of problem solving when it comes to projects, which is always really good to just get nitty-gritty with it and just, solve the problems. So I first started at QIB as an admin temp. I saw the job advertised and I was so excited to work in an institute like this, and I was really interested in science. I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to go into a scientific field when I was younger, but as I got older I was really interested in it, so it was definitely something that I wanted to pursue. And then I became a personal assistant whilst I was here, and then head of customer liaison, and now I'm contracts manager. So I just really enjoy the job and it is absolutely fascinating. The thing I most love about my job is that 2 days are never the same. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I learn on the job every single day. I ask loads of questions, I really look into the science, and it's problem solving. It's actually real world focused what I do, and it improves customers' products as well. So I just think that we are helping customers as well as companies out there. So the advice I would give to you is to believe in yourself. You are more than capable of doing much more than you think of and more. Just be confident in yourself and take every single opportunity, because I think that leads to something that you never dreamed of. So yeah, just be confident and just trust the process.